And it says I'm live. Hi everybody, my name's Patrick. Welcome to the channel. I don't know why I said it like that. So I wanted to use the magical, what are these? Magical Dimensions Oracle cards and activators. Also the Pride Tarot, because I haven't used, only one card came out. I thought it was like two. Because I haven't used it in a minute. And I actually felt a pull to it the other day. There was something about transformation, something about being at odds with the world around you, and something of that nature. I don't remember. But so I picked them up today, and then like the heart chakra came out, the heart portal. So I was just shuffling these, right, and then this fell out, and then these came out face down, and I was like, I'll take them. And then I got this one card that came out when I was shuffling this. Bottom of this deck is the Ace of Swords. Girl, you can get it. There we go. Ace of Swords over here, and then we got Transformation over here with that heart portal, which I love. And you can see the pinks and the greens in Transformation. The pink is more of a purple, but you know, my point stands. And then we got the pink and the green in the heart portal, which I love. And it's actually more pink than green, a little bit. The colors are, oh yeah, there we go. I've had this for long enough, you think I wouldn't be confused. The heart portal is number 20. It is receptivity, generosity, and mistrusting when out of balance. So this is interesting. It's also interesting because I guess I didn't talk about it over here, but we're in this sort of in-between time right now. And I think we kind of sort of have this, there's the way that we're used to things being done, and then there's the way that things are going to be done. And if you've been paying attention and not involved, but if you've been paying attention a little bit, you may have noticed that consciousness has begun to affect multiple areas of society. There are businesses that are adopting more conscious practices and are sort of, dedicating funds and incorporating all of that. We have politicians who are sort of coming into power now, like recently elected. Some of them, maybe they've been around for a minute, but they was like the odd voice out. Very much so not the sort of dominant, what we see from politicians, because if it were, then maybe we would have a little bit more respect for them. But that's also changing, and there are a lot of areas where I feel like if we continue to kind of sort of have this blanket statement mentality feeling towards these entities or these sectors of life or reality or, the things outside of our control, then we may not necessarily see it accurately. And it's already changing. So also hearts are changing. How do I want to do this? We'll do both of these as one. So there is the Gaian Awakening and Wisdom, which I love. Wisdom is number 44, Gaian Awakening at 17. It is preparing, relocation, and ascension. Because of this, exactly. I love how this is just like what I'm talking about. And then Wisdom is psychic, intuition, and truth. And so I feel like as everything in the world changes, we kind of sort of have to realize that if this were to happen, and it is happening, it's like there are things that would have been put in place in preparation, right? Just like a lot of people like to think that they have a mission and it is whatever it is. There are also other people who have missions, and their missions could be more political. It could be more business associated. It could be more scientific, right? And their mission is to enter those sectors and those areas and be the conscious voice in them. So it's like it's already been put into place, but we have to sort of open ourselves up to see it. And then we have to be mindful of what we put our energy to. And that's why we got this transformation with Ace of Swords. Last time I saw the Ace of Swords, it actually felt like a conversation that led to breakthroughs. This time, when it comes to an Ace of Swords, I always look at where the crown is placed on the sword. And this crown is placed at the tip of the sword. So with this crown being placed at the tip of the sword, it's giving me sort of the tip of the iceberg type of energy. Under the Ace of Swords is the Seven of Cups. It gives me the tip of the iceberg energy because it's like we haven't yet begun to integrate the information, right? It's like the more we've integrated the information, the closer the crown would be to the hilt of the sword, where the hand is, right? And then also we got this light at the top of her crown at the same time. And it's more green, like all them greens up there. It's related to the heart and opening the heart, and the heart also being a space of sort of possibility, in a sense. So looking at all this and this, I feel like this is probably going to be, I'm getting some scorpionic energy, maybe some Leo solar energy, maybe a high priestess or a moon. Well, we get the Two of Pentacles, Capricorn. But this is about bringing everything into a new balance. And again, it's about knowing that we can do things in a different way. And right now, like I said, we're in this intersectional, transitory, liminal period. And it's interesting that the Two of Pentacles came out. I guess I should have seen this because the Two of Pentacles I just saw in the Nocturne, in the Spirit Keeper's Tarot, and the Two of Pentacles in the Spirit Keeper's Tarot is very much about harmonious and smooth transitions between one world and another. And that's what's happening. And on the surface, it looks very disharmonious. But if you look at, I guess, the energetics of it, it would be smoother because it's like we're gradually coming out of this old mindset that we were in and into a new mindset. But I feel like we should take care to always be observing and try to be cognizant and aware of the state of the outside world, because if it shifts and if it changes and we don't notice it, we run the risk of interacting with it as if it hadn't. And when you interact with something as if it hasn't changed, sometimes you'll get the same result, right? It's like if you've ever, and I know my throat is doing whatever, I'm letting her do whatever she want to do. But it's like sometimes if you've used a program and then they come out with an update and they move some of the buttons and some of the features, but some of the other stuff is the same. It's very much that. It's like you're not using it to its full potential. You don't know what's moved and changed if you never take a second to actually look at the program. And also, because I know like Snapchat on my phone will just automatically update. So it's like in the morning I'll open it and it'll look one way. In the afternoon I'll open it, it'll look the same way. 10 minutes later I'll open it and it's completely different. And not like, drastically different, but noticeably different. And then it's like, I'll take a screenshot and I send it to one of my friends and I'm like, does your Snapchat look like this? And he'd be like, nah, bro. I ain't talked to him in a minute, really. I wonder how he's doing. Anyway, it's like, we have to sort of be aware. And then, when the terms and conditions and the privacy statements, privacy policies and stuff like that changes, then, it pops up with a little notification that I just X out of. I'm also listening to my peaceful meditations playlist right now. It got a little loud, so I had to turn it down. But yeah, when we're not sort of up to date, we don't really notice when those things change. And when those things change, sometimes how we interact and what we do and what we need to do changes as well. So I'm gonna give this a few shuffles and then we're gonna get into whatever is coming out today. For July 28th, today is a very special day in my life, I feel, personally. And it's crazy how fast time is just flown by. Let me try to straighten up my posture a little bit. Oh, hey Zelda. I was gonna say, oh snap. Howdy, how you doing today? How you doing today? Ooh, 2 of Wands. Okay, let's see. I would like, bottom of the deck is the Empress. And it's actually interesting because, so it's not exactly the same, but this thing behind her head, which might be a moon or a sun or whatever. Well, I guess it's a deeper blue, so it's probably a moon. She's like, she's typically pregnant. She got this little glowy light in her belly. But it kind of sort of reminds me of the wheel of the wheel of life in the Spirit Keeper's Tarot, because in that Nocturne Two of Orbs, the Two of Pentacles, you have one wheel from the wheel of life, and then you have another wheel that's like backwards. And it's almost like, I guess, we're kind of sort of reaching a time where things sort of, it's like we're moving backwards in time. In some ways it feels, but that may be because there are things that we've been carrying with us that we should not have been, that we need to get rid of. And it's almost like we got to go back to the source and take care of these. So we'll get one more. Maybe this will be past, present, future. It'll be however I feel it. I don't know. There we go. Thank you. All these, I'm taking this as all upright. Now at the bottom of the deck is Judgment. And I love this. I love this. This Judgment card in particular, they're fully clothed, right? And it's like we don't have to die to experience heaven all the time. It's like, let's do what we can in this lifetime to actually make it better. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people say we should leave the world in a better place than we found it, because it's like we're sort of borrowing it in some way, if you can borrow Gaia. But it's like we're here for a certain amount of time in these incarnations at least, and then we move on. And there will be people who come after us. So if it's not going to end with us, if we're going to pass it down to somebody else, why wouldn't we want to make it better? What's really interesting to me, is that sometimes, and I'm not going to pretend like I haven't done it ever, but it's like sometimes people will be like, oh, I had it this hard, I had it this rough, I had it this difficult, and since it was that hard for me, it should be that hard for you as well. I'm like, if you know how much it sucks, shouldn't you want it to be easier for somebody else? Or have you of the mindset that since you already been through it, then you don't really care? Now, this I do want to get in reverse, because I want to do the Oracle card last and see what happens. Just to see what, oh, there we go. Thank you. Here it is. So bottom of the deck over here, still that transformation. Transformation and Judgment. So we go from transformation and the Ace of Swords to transformation and Judgment. The Ace of Swords, I mean, it's been the case for a minute. Once you know better, you're responsible for doing better. So I feel like there were a lot of excuses that we kind of sort of had that may have worked in the past. There was a lot of lenience and a lot of grace, right? Because we didn't necessarily know any better. But now that we know all that we know, now that we've been exposed to all that we've been exposed to, whether we've integrated it fully or not, we're kind of sort of responsible for it because we've been exposed to the information, and our soul recognizes that exposure. And our minds and our hearts and everything else. Regardless of whether you consciously choose to sort of take it in or not, you've been exposed, and once you know better, you're responsible for doing better. So you don't get as many tears, right? It's like, there's always compassion and understanding. But at the same time, eventually at some point, people have to grow up. First card out is the Six of Wands. We have this card of victory. I feel like in the past, this is us sort of feeling victorious. This is us feeling on top of the world. This is us. I'm a light worker. I've done this. I've done that. And again, besides all that, this is what worked in a previous energy. It's like, these are the steps that I took in the past to find success. This is what I did to achieve this level of status. This is what, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. Let me put these upside down for you. But coming into a new space, it isn't necessarily going to work the same. It isn't necessarily going to work at all. It's like, when I use math examples a lot. So let me try to do something else. It's like when let me not use a computer example. I want to use cooking. It's like, let's say you have a stove that is going out. And so it doesn't cook stuff as well as it used to, right? It's like it doesn't hold power if it's electric. The gas, whatever, need a tune up if it's gas. But it's like it's beaten up. It's outdated, it's old. And so if you get a new stove, if you get something newer, or if you clean it up, renovate it, update it, and you cook something for the same amount of time, you might overcook it in this new energy because things cook a lot faster, and the way it cooks it, like the heat penetrates deeper, right? So it's like it cooks more evenly at the same time. So not only does it cook faster, but it also cooks more evenly. And so, but if you don't sort of read the manual, or if you don't really observe as you're cooking it, it could have been the case in the old times, in the old cook thing, that if you, it's like if you felt the surface, then it was like, oh, it's pretty hot. Or it's like it's fairly warm-ish. Like it's hot, but it ain't like burning me to the touch. But the inside of it is still cold. Like I just know it, the inside is still cold and it needs to cook a little longer, right? And maybe you got a little thermometer that you stick in there as well. That's another reason why you don't stick a thermometer, like you don't just touch it to the surface. You go like under there to see what it's like on the inside. And girl, this is taking me to my sterilization problem because I had to model the temperature profile change of a can of nacho cheese in a retort. It's fine. But like the closer to the middle of something, the longer it takes to cook because everything has to penetrate that deeply. But if it cooks evenly throughout, it's like the whole thing can be overdone if you don't know that like the middle and the surface sort of rise to the same temperature at roughly the same time. There's something about it that cooks different, and we can't always treat it the same. Basically, what worked in a new energy ain't necessarily gonna work in what worked in an old energy ain't necessarily gonna work in a new energy in the same way. I want to take this one. We have the Five of Wands, so we're stepping down from this victory, which I actually like, because again, I feel like this edifies. That's not the word I want. It clarifies exactly what I was talking about. This, what worked in an old energy, what you found success with in an old energy, the way that you have to do things in an old energy, where it was maybe a little bit harder to be of moral and ethical integrity and succeed. It's like this is changing. And so if you still playing the game like it's a dog eat dog world, well, girl, these days, I mean, people canceling folks. So what you could have got away with in the past, you can't get away with no more. Right. And now it's all these people in Hollywood being exposed for all the stuff that they being doing that the people in Hollywood knew about. But, you know, some of the people outside of Hollywood either didn't know about or didn't care about. And honestly, it's like Gibby was trending on Twitter the other day. And I clicked on it. I was like, why is Gibby trending? And then I scrolled down and then people was talking about Dan Schneider. I was like, girl, what? And then some people were like, well, you know, he gave us a great show, so it is what it is. And I'm like, okay, well, interesting. But this is saying, like, if we don't change and adopt, we're going to encounter a whole bunch of, like, why isn't this working? Like, I used to be successful in this area. Something, something, blah, blah, blah. And I think another thing that happens is sometimes people don't keep, like, their finger on the pulse of where the collective is shifting to. And when that happens, it's like, again, there could have been something that you were successful doing in the past, but now all of a sudden it's like people aren't engaging the same way, right? You're not getting the same response. Just like how some jokes are sort of like outdated and we wouldn't make it now. We wouldn't make them nowadays. They don't fly. And people be like, oh, people are too politically correct and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, you know, we're just not sort of trampling on people anymore, right? It was never funny. But if you found it funny in the past, it's because, you know, the things were effed up. So anyway, it's very much that how some things don't age well. And some things sort of like you can tell that they were from a different time. and we don't necessarily sort of keep our finger on the pulse. Because it's like if you kind of sort of look and observe, you would notice in several areas or through several different media that things are changing and shifting and where it's heading to. And this is trying, I feel like this is trying to make something from an old time work in a new time or in the current time where it's being phased out and there's a need to adapt and change. Now, both of these are Leo energy, which is interesting because I thought I was going to get some Leo energy last time, but it came out with the two of pennies. This is third decan Leo. This is second decan Leo. I think we're in like the second decan. No, we're still in the first decan of Leo, girl. The sun is only like 5 degrees. What am I talking about? Actually, let me check real quick. Ooh, large cardboard boxes. I need those. Sorry. Let's see. Let's look at the transit. So we got Mars 16 degrees Aries. We got Uranus 10 degrees Taurus still. Venus is 21 degrees Gemini. She's only 7 degrees away from the North Node. Mercury is 17 degrees Cancer, which means she is squaring Mars. The sun is 6 degrees Leo. So yeah, we're still in that first decan. The moon is 22 degrees Scorpio. So we're about to have a Leo sun, Scorpio, or Leo sun, Sag moon. South node is Sag. Jupiter is 20 degrees. Pluto is 23 degrees. Saturn is 28 degrees, all in Capricorn. And Neptune is still 20 degrees in Pisces. She's slow. She's been retrograding in that 20th degree for a minute, which is fine. No rush. So why was I looking at that? Because the decans of Leo. Let's see what's clarifying this. We have the Temperance card and the Four of Swords. I feel like this is, it was actually this way. I feel like this is interesting. And I kind of want to see what this is. I do kind of sort of like it better this way, but we'll do it this way. Temperance is a 14-5, right? So 6, 5, 5, 4, 3. If this is a 3, I would say this could be a 3 of Swords for people who don't want to adapt and change. It could be a 3 of Wands for moving forward, not necessarily filling the 3 of Cups, or a 3 of Pentacles. It could be a 3 of Pentacles if it is a 3. Anyway, with these two clarifying, both of these are an energy of stillness. But they're still for different reasons, although they're the same. This energy, it's like it's a stillness and preparation. This energy is a stillness and recuperation. But what the Four of Swords may not know is that the Five of Swords comes right after. So you may think you just sitting, chilling, kicking back, taking it easy, getting over whatever you were getting over. But it's like that call is come. I feel like the call's already been issued and made, honestly, to stand up and fight. And some people are standing or sitting around sort of waiting for whatever they're waiting for, not realizing that the time to act is now. But with this being the Four of Swords, I feel like we're taking a moment from all of this action to actually think, right? This is an opportunity for us to think. And the Three of Swords that this could be sort of coming after could be the emotions associated with going from the Six of Wands feeling to this Five of Wands feeling, right? And it's interesting how some folks kind of sort of change and adapt to, I don't want to say stay relevant, but to expand their platforms and to keep growing. It's interesting how a lot of things are changing in this time right now. Girl, Siri, why you? Oh my gosh, I wonder why my music stopped. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff kind of sort of changing right now. and a lot of ways that people are changing right now because of the way that times are changing. And some people are sort of sticking to whatever they were already doing. And again, that may not necessarily work. So after the fall of going from the Six of Wands victory to the Five of Wands, where you feel like you got to fight to get whatever you was getting in the past, some people are in this Four of Swords just like not really doing much. But maybe in this, again, they can sort of analyze what's going on. The Four of Swords is its mental stability. After the three, and it's like mental stability between the 3 and the 5. So this is actually, it's a pretty sacred place. It's very sort of center of the wheel, eye of the storm type of energy. And so this isn't a bad place to be in, actually. This over here, however, I feel like this is sort of carrying the energy of waiting to return to normal. And it's like wanting to go back this way. And it's like, I feel like you can kind of sort of tell. Not tell. It's just interesting that it's like this is what a lot of people have asked for. And it's like almost like now some people don't want it. And maybe because it requires us to do more and grow. So let's see what this card actually is. It's the 10 of Pentacles. Your girl was out. But this is actually good. Things are typically nice over here. I'm liking it. That's why I like this energy. I'm like, yes, like we're really over here doing things. I don't think it's necessarily that. I think it just comes in a bit of a nicer way. Because it always comes with a caveat, right? Because if you're not doing whatever you need to be doing in this moment where you can sort of process in the middle of all of this change and in the middle of this cataclysmic energy, it's like it's giving us the opportunity, and it has been giving us the opportunity for a while, to see what truly matters in our life. But with all this wands energy, wands, fire, massage, air, and earth. Leo, Sag, Leo. Oh, that's Sag moon. Leo, Sag, Leo, Libra, and Virgo. I'm sorry, I just spaced. Yeah, so we've had the opportunity to sort of think about it. And it's interesting that again, Temperance is kind of sort of Temperance is looking. Let me see where she's looking at. Are they? Let me see where they looking. They eyes closed. They ain't looking nowhere. I'm actually gonna read this Temperance card because it look a little despairy to me. So they ain't looking nowhere. This Four of Swords is looking towards the Ten of Pentacles. But then I feel like there's something in here, right? Because the Four of Swords is an action. I guess it is clarifying the Five of Wands. Both of these are clarifying the Five of Wands, right? So it's like, what are you fighting for? What are you putting in the work towards? And I feel like there's this, it's a still energy. It's listening. It's able to be guided in this direction because it's still enough. This over here will kind of sort of like set us back. And I don't know why Temperance is the setback. Maybe again, it's because because it isn't quite so easy, I guess, to just sort of leave behind everything that you know and the ways that you know of interacting with them and doing them. Especially depending on whatever this was for you and however it served you. But I'm gonna get into this Temperance card and we'll see what the book says. I should really put the decks that I use in like the description or something. I'm using the Magical Dimensions Oracle cards and activators, and also the card Tarot, Pride Tarot, Tarot. Okay. So Temperance. Girl, hold it. Yeah, okay. Temperance by Ryan Edward. Squidward. When Squid was like, "Who cares about the customer?" And the episode with the Krusty Krab pizza, SpongeBob really did all of that. All of that SpongeBob did, and put up with Squidward naysaying, but only to deliver the pizza to the customer and for the customer to be like, "Where's my drink?" And SpongeBob is like, "You didn't order a drink." And the dude is like, "How do you expect me to eat this without a drink?" And it's like, well, it broke SpongeBob's little heart. SpongeBob really, really went to the ends of the earth for that man, for that fish. I don't know why I said it like that. Sorry. Oh, the ugliest jumping out of me. He really went to the ends of the earth for that man. And none of his effort was appreciated. And even though Squidward was complaining the whole time, Squidward was like, "SpongeBob, number one, I know you're too upset. Number two, I know you don't too much go to that place, but I will go to that place for you. What do you like? You ain't order a drink, sir." And he was like, "Well, I'm not paying for that pizza." And Squidward said, "Well, this one's on the house, right?" But I really can't believe SpongeBob really went through all that in order to be met with like unappreciation. Is that a word? And then like, dude didn't even order a drink. Temperance is about moderation, balance, and bringing opposite sides together. The rainbow icon of pride and represent and what? The rainbow. Oh, okay, I gotcha. I need to slow down. Temperance is about moderation, balance, and bringing opposite sides together. The rainbow, icon of pride, and representative of a blend of identities, sets the stage. It takes an even keel to bartend on any night, let alone during Pride. This one must be an absolute angel. There's only tranquility and harmony here. Drinks are artfully mixed and delicately poured. Not too much, just enough. And I love that we're talking about drinks being delicately mixed and artfully poured and not too much, just enough, because there's been a theme of a lack of temperance. Because I've been talking about how Chiron got poisoned when Hercules killed the centaurs and when the one dude killed himself because he couldn't fathom how something would just kill a centaur and then he dropped it and it impaled his foot and he instantly died. There was an arrow tipped and poisoned from the Hydra. Anyway, I feel like that's kind of sort of the difference between these. That's the difference between these. This is a passivity, and this is more active. And again, the energies feel very similar because even this, the Five of Wands action in a Four of Swords way, is effortless. It's aligned. It is the energy of like small things leading to big changes. It's very like it's like cause and effect and chain of events, and the divine is telling you if you set this here, then this will happen, that'll happen. Somebody from like 5 blocks away will do something over here to over there to over there, and then end up like they'll end up meeting in these junctions at this junction point here, and then bada bang, bada boom, boom. Like somehow you end up in the Ten of Pentacles, and you don't even know how because you like all you did was this one thing over here. Temperance is wanting spirit to do all of it for you, and that it's not going to work like that anymore, or at least not right now. It's not going to work like that in a time of great transition and change. It just isn't. Like, sorry, not sorry. So yeah, that's the difference between these. It's like this is a non-act. This is like arguing with the world for changing instead of like adapting to the world and getting better, staying at the top, right? That's why we sort of praise some people who stay at the top of their game, their field, because they're able to ebb and flow with the times and they're able to update, right? They're able to adapt. and not just be like, oh, well, back in my day, people liked my kind of music. I was popular. It's like, girl, change up your sound or update it, right? Sometimes you don't even have to change up your sound to still be like good or relevant. Maybe you just need to change up the way you market it, right? Or change the venues, change the way that you sort of try to get an audience. Because I don't think you should necessarily have to change who you are. I don't think that's, well, okay, some things do need to change, yes. Because going to where we're going, like if you in some kind of self-sabotagey, not decent, don't nobody really like you or want to be around you type of energy, then I don't know who you're gonna get to sit in this 10 of Pentacles with you, because it don't nobody like to be around you, unless like you get somebody who just wants to be there for whatever you have to offer them as far as material, but then it's like, ooh, right, that might be kind of empty. So we already got transformation down there. This could be not necessarily breakthrough, maybe challenges. I'm feeling I don't know. This is the end goal. I feel like when I do stuff over here, it tends to end up on the more positive side, but this is the realization of it. So it may actually be challenges. I could see the root portal coming out or the heart. I don't think exiled. Let's just see. Ice Queen, maybe. Oh, look at this. Look at this. How many times did I say this card? Number 6, blocks, fears and negativity and betrayal. Challenges. I knew it. I knew it was challenges. And I was like, oh, well, sometimes like over here, things like to be all like, cupcakes and rainbows and sunshine. But we already got that with the 10 of Pentacles. We already got that. So I'm like, nah, it's time to get real. It's going to be challenges. And it was challenges. And I already challenges from the book. And it's another 6. We got a 6 here. We got a 5 here, a 5 here, a 4 here, a 10 here, which is a 1, and then a 6 up here. If we add all these together, 6 and 6 is 12, and 5 is 17. Actually, that's 26. Because that's a 14. So we can just add that straight up. 6 and 6 is 12, plus 14 is 26, plus 5 is 31, plus 4 is 35. That's 45, which is a 9, right? A 45, the 4 into the 5. It's about, the 4 and the 5, I guess. It's a change in the foundation. It's a completion that comes, it's kind of, the 45-9 is almost like a tower energy, but it's like something about the way that this tower falls that you can never go back to it. Because first we start with the stability and then we go into the change. And then with that 9, it seals it, it locks it, it keeps us from going back. And then we got a 6 up here. Love it. Anyway, challenges. Oh, I'm glad I got that one right. I'm glad I got that one right. I was like, I know this is going to be challenges. It has to be challenges. It wouldn't make sense for it to be anything else. And we already got transformation and judgment over here. So anything and everything you do in this time is being it's always been observed, but it's really being observed now. And it's also interesting because it's like with this temperance card leading back to the 6, sort of coming back down the hill when we need to be progressing forward. You're overly waiting on spirit, overly patient, overly trying to rectify and balance situations, and not necessarily in equitable ways, right? Not necessarily balancing it where we end up on the better side for everyone. It's kind of sort of balancing it so you end up on the better side for you that you were already in the first place. Or even if you weren't in the greatest of states, it's like going back, seeking something from the past instead of going for all that the future has to offer you with this 10 of Pentacles. But yeah, with this temperance, it's like you waiting on spirit to do something. And with this judgment, spirit is waiting on you to do something for you, aligned with your soul path, your soul self, your spirit, and what they need you to do. What you need you to do, honestly. So challenges, blocks, fears and negativity, and betrayal. The image connected with this one is an icy blue color ray. Oh, I love icy blue because that's cold. What's colder than cold? Stone cold. Steve Austin. I'm sorry. So the celestial interpretation here says challenges resonates to freedom from fears, negativity, and blockages. I was going to say packages and baggages. Residing in a denser dimension. Girl, is this not what I've been talking about all day? Okay, I'm going to start all over because I got excited. Challenges resonates to freedom from fears, negativity, and blockages. Residing in a denser dimension can cause the lower self to succumb to fear based emotions. This clearing and transmutational ray assists the self in breaking free from uncertainty, negative thoughts, isolation, and all emotions preventing the soul from progressing forward. Preventing the soul from progressing forward, like I just said. Let me, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. Forgive me for being a little hype. Emotional blockages and powerlessness are vanquished by this potent ray. A once cold and challenging existence is now replaced with light and faith in the power of divine intervention. Life and faith in the power of divine intervention. And it's like the divine intervention that we're getting. It's like that thought, that action, that moment that just like, if I do this here, I don't know what all of this other stuff is because only the divine knows that. And maybe the people who are kind of sort of here doing whatever they need to do in those moments. But it's like that, it's that causality, that cause and effect, that chain reaction that we don't know about. But we can come from this space of constantly needing to fight and be better than somebody else. Maybe that's another thing that some people don't want to let go. Some people are just naturally competitive, and that's fine. But it's time to channel that competition in a way that, again, moves you forward and doesn't keep you stuck in arenas that you graduated from a long time ago, but you still want to play in those arenas because, you know, rather than you growing and facing a challenge, you'd rather look good. Anyway, the oracle interpretation of this card is: if you are feeling blocked, afraid, or stuck, assistance is on the way. So hold on and don't succumb to negative thinking. Even when you feel trapped or stifled, there is always light surrounding you and your situation. Be aware at this time. Someone in your life may be holding you back from your greatest good. And honestly, that somebody is probably you. I feel like we've gotten past the point of blaming other people. Some people are legitimately being held back by other people. A lot of people, not so much. The companion crystal here, the companion crystals here, we got Iceland Spa and Lapis Lazuli. And then the companion essential oil is black pepper. That's interesting. I mean, like if you got pepper in your house, it ain't necessarily like oil from black pepper, but it's interesting that it's like black pepper because I feel like that's something that a lot of people kind of sort of have. But yeah, I mean, judgment is at the bottom of the deck, and so I feel like you are being judged. But it's more so being judged by kind of sort of what you do in this time, and it's not necessarily like an active judgment; it's just passive. I feel like there was a lot of lenience, right? There was a lot of sort of a buffer, a lot of a window. So in chemistry, a buffer is something that keeps the pH from changing too much. And the pH is related to the concentration of hydrogen atoms versus hydroxide atoms, right? Because water is H2O, hydrogen is the H, hydroxide is the OH. Hydrogen makes things acidic. Hydroxide, I'm pretty sure that's hydrogen hydroxide. The hydroxide makes things basic. And so what a buffer will do is it has the ability to take the hydrogen ions or to take the hydroxide ions, integrate it into its own structure and change so that the overall concentration remains fairly the same because you don't have free hydrogens floating around because you have something to soak it up, right? It's something to soak it up to keep things from changing. And I feel like, honestly, there were a lot of ways that we were kind of sort of buffering ourselves. And to buffer something probably is to temper it. And that's not the thing to do right now. It's like we need to change this space. We need to change locale. We need to change location. We need something fresh. We need something new because what was is not working. And there are some people who are fighting so hard to change in so many ways that they may not even necessarily always fully understand and realize that they're keeping the systems in power. Because sometimes when you actively fight something, you're giving it enough focus, enough juice to keep itself going. Sometimes. I'm drinking strawberry hibiscus tea with a splash of Minute Maid lemonade. It's really good. So bottom of the deck is the Ten of Pennies again. Love it. Love her. The card that came out is the Star. This is what you've been wishing for. Look how deep in the depths this mermaid is, just reaching for the light. It's like, this is what you asked for. It may require a little bit more from you than you thought it would, but hey, you wanted this. And it's like, once you know better, you're responsible for doing better, right? So, like, it's like, if you ask for something and it's given to you and then you decide you don't want it, what card came out? Releasing. Okay. Releasing is number 32, another 5. This is purification, spiritual cleansing, and letting go. I feel like there's a lot that we can't let go of. Honestly, like I said, with that 6 of Wands and that sort of the competition, I feel like what we've overcome has been, it's like so much of our narrative that we're not going to allow ourselves to enter these new spaces. I feel like polarity and this versus that is so strong in the narrative that we won't let ourselves go of that, even when it's like the poles have collapsed on themselves. Physically, the poles have collapsed upon themselves. Spiritually, mentally, emotionally, it's still there. And I say that again because this is my own, everything I say on here is my perspective and opinion, for the most part. Not for the most part, but y'all get what I'm saying, right? Because even if it's coming to me, it's going to come to me in a way that I can process it to get to what I'm doing, whatever, to what I'm saying and feeling and seeing and hearing and all that stuff. But yeah, it's like some people are so stuck in the 3D versus 5D polarity duality that it's like they're introducing more resistance than needs be. And when it comes to the mask thing, I feel like some people are wearing a mask because they're deathly afraid of contracting COVID. Other people are wearing a mask because, according to the guidelines and stipulations and what we know about mask wearing, it limits other people's exposure to the things that we carry within ourselves. And it's interesting that I just said it like that because I feel like that speaks to something. It limits exposure to the outside world of what we carry within ourselves, right? And it's like how we project our inner demons onto other people and we project our struggles and the things that we can't reconcile within ourselves onto other people and stuff like that. It's like the mask would prevent you from doing that. But when you stop doing that, you have to face everything within you. And there are a lot of people and a lot of energies and a lot of entities invested in not doing that. And at least not doing it to the level where you actually make like a real breakthrough, where you actually let go and release some of those challenges, right? It's like my dad used to have a dog. His name was Sixer. And when I was younger, I was afraid of Sixer. But when I got older, I wasn't afraid of Sixer, but I was still acting like I was afraid of Sixer. And so, and the last few years of his life, because he was an old doggy, we actually, like, Sixer was cool. And I kind of sort of felt bad because, especially at the point where I knew I wasn't afraid of him anymore, like it was like I could have like gone out and interacted with him and engaged with Sixer because he was a cool dog. He was pretty chill. By the end of it, he was like blind. But anyway, it's like it's that same thing. There are certain things that have become a part of our narrative. I'm afraid of this. This is bad. I need to do better than these people to feel better for myself. I have something to prove. Like all of these different bits of our narrative that keep us facing the same challenges. And if you put the mask on, It'll give you the opportunity to face it within yourself without the mirror. And when you face it within yourself without the mirror, that's when you can make the most progress. That's when it's the most cemented, because again, you're not seeing it as a fault in someone else. You're seeing it as something within you. And then once you see it that way, I feel like you'll be able to recognize it and release it. And then you won't need the external world to continue to show you that within you. And then things can actually improve and get better. I'm a fan of that energy. At the bottom is harmonic resolution. Harmonic resolution is 19. It's negativity, anger, and transmutation. Negativity, anger, transmutation. We just had blockages, fears, and negativity, and whatever else that came out with challenges. But again, it's time to release all of that. And I don't think some people are ready. It's like some people need so badly to be better than someone else, to have a sense of self-worth. And that's not self-worth. That's comparative worth. If you need someone else to make you feel a certain type of way, regardless of if that's you being better than somebody, if you have to be better than somebody to see the beauty within you, I feel like there's something that you're not fully getting. You're not getting the beauty of you to the fullest, to its fullest potential, when you can only see it because someone else is lesser, right? And then it keeps your whole world in a space of needing to be a certain amount of bad for you to be on top of it, for you to sort of be cohesive. And that's another way that people sort of manifest limitations in their environments, because I need to be better than this. I need to have more than this in order to feel feel whatever. It's like, okay, girl. And at the same time, some people need to feel less than, because that's the narrative that they've been running. Like, oh, I'm not as good as this. I'm not as pretty. I'm not as, wealthy, as stable, as funny, as smart as X and Y and Z. All of the old narrative is time to let go of. All right. I feel like I've reiterated these points several times. So I'm going to catch y'all later. Have a good whatever whenever you see this. All the best with those challenges, and put that mask on. It's like, to take the mask off, you have to put the mask on. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Think about that.